How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which ended up seeing $28 on the day. If you guys remember what I was saying in my previous videos, I was looking for Lucid to get to $28 for this week. That's what we got, but of course we ended up closing below that. We'll talk about it further in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $26.50, being down 3.14%. On the low, it tested $26.20, and then on the high, testing $28.14. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 21.539 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 22.928 million shares. So you can see we have below average volume on the day, and that's why we've seen a slight pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see the RSI down below is at 51.94. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day. We did break below the 50-day, and as well, we are above the 21-day EMA. So as far as closing at $26.50, I want to show you guys we ended up seeing a high of $28.14. If you guys remember, I wanted to see Lucid touch $28 this week. So we end up revisiting this level going into tomorrow. So let's see if we start picking things back up in the market. Then I'd want to see Lucid actually surpass $28.14 and see how well it would do when it reached the level here right at $29. There could be a good amount of selling pressure here, but of course you need a lot more buying volume so we can get up to the 200-day. Because remember, once we get above the 200-day moving average, Lucid is officially out of the bear market. Now, if it decides to consolidate or if it wants to pull back, then of course I'd want to see us hold above the 21-day EMA, which is at $25.62. And if we do decide to break through the low of the day, which is at $26.20, then of course we want to see if support could hold up right here at $26 on the nose. But again, if the markets are strong, Lucid still has some more room to run. I know it was great seeing it when it reached that high of $28, but that market pullback, hey, it's inevitable. So let's go on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we're going to be taking a look at the recent filings for March to 30th. So we're going to go over the ones that are the most noticeable. So we have Global X NASDAQ 100 covered call ETF that purchased just over 767,000 shares. And then we also see some short positions here. So we have Neuberger Berman Long with a short position just over 351,000 shares. And then as we scroll down even more, yeah, those are pretty much the most notable positions, but we can see institutions for the most part have been loading up on shares. And now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 43.63%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 6.05 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 900,000, updated 29 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 7.79%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 28th, it was at 57.55, and then for the close of the 29th, 29th being at 43.63. So one thing that remains the same, Lucid does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow, it is at 101, and then on the outflow, it's at 107. So overall, we had an outflow day. Keep in mind, these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 44.73. And then on the small, it was 56.32. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 4.70. On the medium, it was 49.88. And then on the small, it was 52.28. And then when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for today, March the 30th, being an outflow of 4.7 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.31%. So it continues to be a consistent range for Lucid. It does see a lot of volatility, but for the most part, many are holding on to their shares. So now let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, before we get started, let's go over the recent update that came out in the EV sector today and why many stocks were running up. Why are battery metal stocks up today? Today's sources close to President Joe Biden made an important announcement that has battery metal stocks shooting up. As geopolitical tensions disrupt the markets, the US government is planning to invoke a Cold War era act to spur domestic electric vehicle battery production. The list of items covered by the 1950 Defense Production Act may soon include battery materials like lithium, nickel, cobalt, and more. So just seeing this overall, this is great news for the EV sector, and it's part of the reasons why you want to keep yourself up to date when this news comes out, because it does bode well, especially with this volatile year that we're going to be going through with interest rate hikes and so forth. It raises investors' confidence to want to buy more into these stocks. So when Lucid had that strong pop going to 28.14, I was like, wait a second, what's going on? Are we going to make that move to 29? Of course, we ended up seeing some selling pressure. We also did have a red day inside of the market, and it gave up a lot of those gains. But if we have strength inside of the markets going into tomorrow, I think this will make some room for some interesting price action. And while we're on the topic of price action, let's talk about those levels you want to look out for. So good thing is Lucid is continuing to hold $25, but most preferably I wanted to hold support above 25.62. This will be very key, because if we could stay above 25.62, we could look forward to seeing some more pops to the upside. Of course, $28 is an area that we would love to see hold, because if we were able to do that, then we can go into the month of April and you can see Lucid trading at $30 plus a share. So that's why doing your homework, looking at the charts can give you a good idea of where the price action could go. And that's why I was telling you guys from before earlier in the week, like, you know what, Lucid, there's a good chance it can make its move to $28, and all it really needs to do is hold up $25. So if we end up having a pullback or we have some consolidation so things don't go according to plan, then I just want to see Lucid form a higher low. It's been able to do this for the past 3 trading days, and even if that pattern does break, like I said, as long as we stay above 25, I'm cool over here as far as trading it and so forth. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. And then when we took a look at the recent institutional ownership, we could see institutions have been loading up on shares, and we also see a couple of institutions who have taken short positions. So overall, even though Lucid was down just over 3% on the day, as far as for the month of April, things are looking good. So I will continue to keep you guys updated. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.